Hello, welcome to the United Community Channel. This is your match reaction. Manchester United 0, Man City 3. Absolutely muck, terrible, disgraceful, nothing, to be honest with you. But yeah, we're here for the match reaction nonetheless, even though probably don't even want to do it, any of us. But we've got the three boys on as usual, Oisin, Chris and Ben. Who wants to start? Because I fucking don't.
Where do you start?
Where do you start? Great question. Great question.
Starting lineup. How about the starting lineup?
Yeah.
Oisin, you're the closest man to me on the screen there. Can you explain any of it?
Just wrong from the start. Absolutely wrong from the start. Starting with the back four. I mean, I'm a big believer in if you're fit enough for the bench or fit enough to start and give 55, 60 minutes, start Varane, start Reguilon. Lindelof was absolutely roasted all game by Walker and Foden. Absolutely torn apart. Evans, look, he's been a great servant for the club in his first stint. I put a comment in the chat beforehand. He was there in the 6-1 demolition a few years ago.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been near their starting team. Then it's the same thing I've been saying for, I don't know, no interplay, no changing wings, no fluidity. I don't know, is that a managerial decision or is it just that Rashford won't move off the left-hand side? But they're too easy to play against. They're too easy to read. No one in midfield. Amrabat isolated. Eriksen is not a starting player anymore. He came on against Copenhagen the last night and calming influence, but he's not a starter anymore. I know why Ten Hag started him because of his experience, but he's just not good enough anymore. And safety whistle. I don't know if Chris wants to start on safety whistle, but I've said enough now.
Go on, Chris. Take it from there.
I mean, I can't. I mean, like I said in the chat, I don't know if anybody caught it, but when you're starting McTominay and hoping for something good to happen, it's a problem. Like it's just no. I mean, I can't think of another team that wants to start him. Like, he's bad. Like, and I don't understand. Like, what tactic was Lindelof there for? He didn't help out on Holland. He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. You know, we didn't like crunch the back four to make it congested in the middle. He just got beat terribly all game, and it's not like Rashford's going to drop back and help him defensively a lot. So like that, I don't understand what tactic that is. I mean, the one thing I can say about Reguilon is that, he may not be the best and we know that, but he fights. I mean, he goes out and gives his all, and I got to go with that. I mean, I don't think Varane makes much of a difference in the back because our center backs played fine. I mean, I really don't see it's sad to say, but I mean, maybe he does a little bit more, but what did they really do wrong? Nothing. Our midfield is, Amrabat getting a yellow card for that thing with Foden is just ridiculous. Like, he didn't do anything. Foden got into his face. Like, that's just terrible. VAR is now looking at plays that are not even in the play. Like, I don't like that. That's never happened. Like Rodri had no chance of getting to the ball at all. So I don't see that. I mean, Oisin's right. We're too easy to defend. I look at the game today and say the starting lineup was meant to, like I said before, park the bus and counterattack.
Yeah.
The problem is we never got a chance to counterattack because City held the ball. That's the problem. If you're not going to cause turnovers to counter, then it's not going to work. And so his tactics are about, if that's what his tactic was today, it didn't work. And I don't understand why we can't, even with the makeshift squad that we have, why can't we stick with one squad and go forward to get continuity, to get people playing together? Let Reguilon play on the left. Let Varane and Maguire or whoever, I don't understand why Evans was there, but he didn't play terribly. So, why not put Varane back in? We held him out of games earlier in the week to make sure he could play this week.
Yeah.
if Amrabat's on a yellow card, we've watched Ten Hag let Casemiro play on a yellow card. And if Mainu is healthy enough to be on the bench, throw him in. What's it gonna hurt? It's not gonna hurt anything.
Yeah.
I mean, Mason Mount, I mean, I gotta be honest. I'll say it right now. He's a bigger flop than Anthony.
Yeah. Ben, go on. Anything to add to that?
It's just like Chris says, that the players that are out there has got to put effort in.
Yeah.
If you're not the best footballer, you put 100% in, fair dues.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. In relation to Mount, obviously, Ten Hag is kind of getting close now to maybe having more poor signings than he is good signings. Do you see how Mount turns it around? I mean, I don't see where he fits into the team. He was anonymous today when he came on, and he's wearing the number 7 jersey.
And he's just got to get his head down and work, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He weren't playing for Chelsea when he came to us, was he? It's not like he's been playing football regular, is it, last season? So
yeah.
It's just work. Got to work for it.
Just work your way into good form, hopefully.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. What's good form? I mean, like you said, Jack. We're in the way that we play, and you can pick out whatever formation you want to talk about. Where is he actually going to play? Like, if you're playing the 4-2-3-1, he doesn't fit. If you play a 4-3-3, he doesn't fit. Maybe he fits in a 4-4-2. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, Oseen, he's Mr. 4-4-2. He can tell you where he would fit on that one. But I just don't. I mean, he plays the same position as Bruno. That's what he's good at. And unless you're going to take Bruno off, I just don't see it. And he's not. I mean, and I've said this again. We just don't have playmakers up front.
Yeah.
I mean, Højlund is good, but we don't get him the ball. It's just.
I thought he was I thought Højlund was the one. Him and Onana, I think, were the two kind of positives that we could.
I have no problems with Højlund. I think he's going to be a star soon.
Yeah.
But the problem is that we just don't feed him the ball. And,
yeah, exactly.
And honestly, even with Rashford today, we barely fed him the ball. I mean, we barely had the ball. I mean,
yeah. Let me go down through some of these comments here, see what people are saying here. Aaron says, evening all, been away a few weeks, don't really know what to say, to be honest. Defensively shocking, midfield can't put 2 passes together, and our final ball is non-existent, no spine, no passion. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, absolutely. The stream is buffering every 10 seconds, says Liam. Well, it has to be YouTube because I'm using a different streaming platform now. So let's see. Anyone else saying nothing decent here? Ange says, even Man United is better than Arsenal. Not reading that dirt. Daz says, there's nothing happening. The stream could yeah, right, lads. Let's try and keep it. Let's see. Sharma says, Baldy Ten Hag ruined my lovely club. The fraud should be sent to Saudi, be punished by Ronaldo himself for scamming United. Well, I think that's a bit dramatic. While we're talking about Ten Hag, Oisin, I've notes wrote down here that did Ten Hag potentially lose that game for United today? Because at half time, we were in the game, right? We were 1-0 down to a dubious decision from VAR, but I thought we were playing quite well. I thought we were creating some chances. Obviously, City had majority of possession. Then he takes Amrabat off and brings Mount on, who was non-existent. He brings Højlund off and gets massive boos from the Old Trafford crowd. Is he causing his own problems?
He's definitely working towards it. He's not doing himself any favors with those kind of decisions. But again, I've said it for a couple of weeks now, his in-game management, even go back to the last season, his in-game management, I query. Okay, today he made a sub at halftime, and I think he made a sub on Tuesday night at halftime too, didn't he? Which is very unlike him. He normally waits till the 60th or 65th minute and too rigid there too. But he took off the screen we had. Amrabat was protecting the back four that we had, and he was sitting in front of Maguire and Evans, dropping into making a back five at times just to shield and protect him. He was doing a great job with it. I think the yellow card had a lot to do with it. But I also think, and you even said it yourself, going into halftime, the City were there for the taking. And whether Ten Hag thought that Mount was the guy to do it, I don't think he is. I'm struggling. I've said it since he signed. I don't see where he fits. He's a round peg in a square hole.
Yeah.
We're sacrificing Bruno to accommodate him. Bruno should never be on the right wing. And when Mount came on, that's where he should have gone. He should have gone on the right wing and let Bruno come into the middle and play from there if he had to come on at all. I personally, if I was going to make a change there, I would have taken off McTominay for Mount. And put Mount out to right, like I said, for Bruno in the middle. Because McTominay was the cause of the second goal. He lost his runner. He just doesn't have the football brain to play as a defensive midfielder. He can play. He seemed to be okay in the first few minutes when they all were okay playing as number 10. But he just doesn't have the footballing brain to play where he ended up playing today, and he caused us more problems. And making the kind of Højlund was the only one of the front three of Bruno, Rashford, and himself that was doing anything. Rashford was doing his usual, running down blind alleys and getting lost and shooting from everywhere for no particular reason. And Bruno just can't do anything on the right wings. He just goes missing. You know, he doesn't help out with the low. He doesn't seem to know what the role is out the right wing. And Højlund was the only. He was putting me under pressure. He got through a few times himself, and maybe again as an 18-year-old, or what is he, 20? As a 20-year-old, his decision making isn't quite where it should be, and he made one or two of the wrong decisions. Maybe held the ball too long. Didn't play the right pass. But he was the only. Himself and Onana were in a few bright sparks today.
But let me ask you,
sorry, go on. Just to say, if Onana was between those sticks today, it would have been 6, 7, 8. No.
Yeah, easily. Chris, let me ask you then, when do we have to really start questioning Erik ten Hag and whether he's actually up to the job? Because if he is going to continue to make these in-game mistakes and cost us points and results, then the criticism is going to come for him.
I think the criticism's already there. I honestly, I really think. But, you also got to look at it. It's the same thing as, Jurgen Klopp last season was getting murdered, for his decisions and stuff because he didn't have the squad. And let's be honest, I don't think Ten Hag has the squad right now. You're forced to play Eriksen. We know he's not a 90-minute player, but you're forced to play him. Kobe Mainoo this is his first time back on the bench since preseason. So, you don't even know if he's. I don't know why he's on the bench if he's not fit enough to play. We don't. You don't have Shaw, you don't have Wan-Bissaka, you don't have Martinez, you don't have the same squad that you were playing with last season. And I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh, at the beginning of the season they weren't playing well." Well, that happens a lot. They didn't play well at the beginning of the year, and it changes. But I just think, I question. Like I agree with OC in that you need to take McTominay off. And if you want to put Mount there for McTominay, fine. But you got to leave Amrabat on and hope and just be like, hey, just be cautious. Just get in the way of people. Just don't get another yellow card. He's a professional. He's been around, so he knows how to do that. And if you want to take him off at the 60th, 70th minute to try to get another goal or something, then I get it. But I think that's a poor decision. But I also think, as much as I want to criticize him, he's kind of hamstrung in what he can do. Who's the other player on the bench that can play a defensive midfielder? We don't have one besides. And McTominay can't do it. We know that.
But why take off the one defensive midfielder that you have then?
Because maybe he doesn't want to lose him for 3 games if he gets another yellow card. Or because who knows how far Casemiro's off. Maybe he knows that. Maybe he knows Casemiro's not fit for the next 3 games. And he can't. And then if you lose Amrabat, and I get it, but I still think you got to trust your players. And I'm going to question them now because it's like Højlund. Why you bring Højlund off? Bring. There's no reason to bring him off. At that point, bring Lindelof on, play with the back 3, and go after it. At least if you lose big, then you say, hey, we were down 2-0. We tried to go after it. We lost 4-0. What else are you going to do? It's just, I don't think. I really think I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass, not a lot. Don't get me wrong, a little bit of a pass, just because we don't have. I mean, what are our options off the bench? We don't have any.
Yeah.
I mean, although I think Reguilon should have played from the beginning, because I think he should have. He could have pressured enough to keep Foden and Walker back instead of letting them just run at you.
Yeah.
With Lindelof. That's me. But
and Ben, if like, do you allow Ten Hag to, like, because obviously the criticism is going to be there about some of the players that he signed. You know, obviously Anthony is not doing anything. Mount now is not really doing anything. You know, you're getting an old Casemiro, you're getting an Eriksen on loan, you're getting an Amrabat on loan. While I understand he's probably not getting, you know, the full backing, and he wanted Declan Rice, and he wanted, you know, Kim Min-jae, and he wanted Harry Kane and all these type of players, and he didn't get them. But how much of the blame does actually have to fall to him, or is it more of a collective at United?
It is a collective, but you've got to look at his starting lineup. Everybody's making mistakes at the club. We've got the refs against us. We've got VAR against us. The club's not run properly. The takeover. It's everything. Everything's wrong, isn't it, at the minute?
And what do we do to fix that? I mean, is Jim Radcliffe going to fix this? You know what I mean?
If he does, it's not going to be a quick fix, is it?
Mm.
It's going to be. It's just going to have to play the way you are.
If Radcliffe takes over, I don't see where unless we're blinded by where there's no influx of cash that's gonna fix it. You know, and that's my issue with the 25% is there's no influx of cash that's going to fix anything. And that's a big issue. But, you know, now from what I've read is that, you know, even the Radcliffe deal may be off because the Glazers don't want to give up soccer control or football control. Sorry. But, you know, they don't want to give up the control. And it's like, well, then why would anybody want to invest 25% if they don't have control of their investment? Like, that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, he won't go in unless he's given control. You know, that's quite clear. I think he made that quite clear himself. We're just not good enough, in my opinion. You know, like
100%.
if you look at the players that we've got, and I've got him on the screen here, right? Obviously, Onana, he had a tough start to his career, but in my opinion, he's coming good now. He really is. Delors is not good enough. I mean, the back fucking four that started is not good enough. You know, all of them. Delors is not good enough. Lindelof, Evans, Maguire, not good enough. McTominay is not good enough. Amrabat still has to prove himself. Eriksen is too old. Bruno is annoying the fuck out of me. Rashford is not good enough. And Highland, I think, is going to be very good. That's one player out of the starting 11. And you go to the bench then, that the players that come on. Mount, I don't think is good enough. Garnacho is. Reguilon is on loan. Anthony isn't good enough. Martial just won't fuck off. Like, Oisin, where the fuck do we start, man? Like, this is going to take another billion to get right on the pitch alone, surely.
There's major. I mean, we all laughed 2 years ago when Ragnick said there's open heart surgery need to be doing. Yeah. We all laughed and said, "What's he talking about?" And now it's coming true. You know, we're looking at what this guy could see, and we all thought he was an absolute moron for saying it. Yeah. And it's as plain as the nose in our face now, just what is wrong there. We just don't have the players. But on the other side of that then, and I go back to Ten Hag, and maybe it might be slightly unfair here, but I mean, I grew up with Ferguson. And if you were, as I said in the poll, as I said in the group, if you were good enough, you were old enough.
Yeah.
Give some of the younger players a chance from the start. You know, I mean, Ferguson had no problem getting rid of Kanchelskis, Hughes,
Collins,
you know, and bought in all of the class of 92. Now, I'm not saying that the people that we have coming through now, the main news, the Garnachos, Pelestris, are the class of 92, but we won't know until we try them.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying in the group, in the chat, that he's not ruthless enough. I mean, Rashford. What has Rashford's average rating been the last couple of weeks? He's got to be he's got to be below 5, if we're being honest about stuff. You know, give Garnacho a twist. You know, the ideal game for Garnacho was last weekend against Sheffield United. You know, what could have gone wrong there by giving Garnacho a twist there, or Palestri a chance in the race of Anthony? Anthony did nothing last Saturday evening? He did nothing at all.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I think there's
the one thing I would say to you there about giving the young lads a run. I mean, we go into a stretch of games in the league now. You know, Fulham, Luton, Everton, and then Newcastle. So you do have the opportunity to play, the young lads against so-called lesser teams. I think we could put ourselves in that fucking category at this stage. But it is a good chance maybe to play them.
Yeah, so I don't see us getting rid of even some of those players in January. I mean, who wants to buy players in January? We'll want to buy players. No one's going to want to sell. And we're just a legacy of Woodward and his cronies that they're on stupid money. And no one else is going to pay them that. We won't be able to get rid of them. So we're stuck with them for foreseeable.
We've made that mistake post Woodward as well. I mean, fucking Marcus Rashford is on 375 grand a year or a week.
That's based on last year. We all thought last year was going to kick on from that.
Yeah.
You know, he's doing a bit of a Salah job now, where he's got the big contract, he's comfortable, he's not doing much. You know, sorry to bring a Liverpool player into it, but it's just you know, it is as a former Liverpool manager said, fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I got to be honest. I think that three solid players with our normal lineup, with your Shaw and your Wan-Bissaka and your Varane and Martinez, I think three solid players, and that would be a center back, one midfield engine, like someone that is an engine. Like, I mean, not to bring another Liverpool player into it, but the kid from Hungary, Soboslai, is proving to be a midfield engine for that team. And
I commented on, do you know your man, the Anfield legenda, the Craig, the Dublin guy?
I didn't start it.
He said Soboslai has had the same impact on the Premier League that Kevin De Bruyne has had.
No, okay, I won't go that far.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
But he's an engine. He gets things. He calms. He starts the game in the midfield. We don't have that. And then I again, we have to buy a right wing because Anthony's not good enough. We don't have one. We don't. I've protected Anthony, and everybody knows it. I think, you give him some time. He's just not good enough. I mean, he's good enough. I mean, he's basically Dan James with a left foot, not a right foot. I mean, that's just basically what he is. But I mean, I just think that if we have our starting lineup, if you have Casemiro or Amrabat sitting there as a defensive player, and you bring in somebody, and honestly, it's our midfield that's the problem.
Yes, sorry for interrupting you. They're showing that fucking Foden goal again. The whole back line just goes to sleep. All of them. Rodri with the shot. Johnny Evans standing there. Haaland then just squares it. Oh, my God. Anyway,
I don't understand how Foden's an actual football player, because if I would have saw that kid on the streets of England, I would have beat him up, because he just looks like the kid you beat up.
He's some fucking footballer, though.
I know, but I would have beat him up just because of that reason, too, because I would have made sure he would have never seen the field, period. But, because he just bothers me. I don't know what it is about him. He just bothers me. But, I mean, I think we need someone that can control the midfield. We don't have it. Like, as much as we want to say anything, we don't play through the midfield at all, period. End of story. Yeah. And that's the problem, and I think if we find that, and to be honest with you, I don't know who it is at this moment, but we have to find that player that can control and start the attack for us. And Bruno needs to play the 10, and he needs to stop being. I mean, if I was Bruno, I'd be mad, because every time there's a starting lineup, he's put in a different position.
Yeah.
Instead of the one that he's good at. So, I mean, it's just today was. I mean, the first half we parked the bus and we were down 1-0 on a bad call, and then we basically did what we always do. Oh, we got complacent and let him run roughshod.
Yeah, Ben, I leave the last word to you. Where do we go from here? There's going to be big pressure on, really, isn't there?
It's back to square one again, innit? It's basics again, innit? It's basic football mistakes again. Players playing out of position.
Was that someone's phone going off? Because that noise was perfect for how I'm feeling about Man United at the moment. But
Yes, they play your strongest players in the position
yeah,
and build around it. We've been how long we've been saying it for?
yeah.
But we see it, nobody there does, so there's something going wrong somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah. Either we should be managers or Eric Ten Hag shouldn't be a manager.
I don't want to be a manager. I want to be the guy that buys the players. I don't want to be the manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, look, I let you off to drink your alcohol and or whatever it may be. Because I think we all deserve a little tip.
Little Woodford rye. You can't go wrong with that.
Good for you. Good for you. I'm going to go change some nappies now anyway. So
boy.
The joys
How's
of it.
Prince Henry? How's Prince Harry doing?
He's doing good. He's getting we're getting him into a routine, thankfully. He's sleeping a little bit more at night every night. So happy days. Happy days. Don't want to tempt fate by saying too much more, just in case. But guys, look, I appreciate you coming on as always. Thanks a mil. Anybody else, if you want to become an official member of the channel, link is in the description, and come on like the guys after every game. You certainly can. Thanks to everybody for watching. Please smash the like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And yeah, we've got Newcastle on Wednesday night. Yay! Hooray! We'll see you for that one, lads. Thanks for joining, and I'll chat to you during the week. All right.
Be good.
Catch you later.
Take it easy.